All right, today we are talking about someone truly remarkable, Pandita Ramabai. Her story, wow. It's this incredible mix of pure genius, heartbreaking tragedy, and just this fierce, rebellious spirit that took on the injustices of her time.
So, to really get a sense of what she was up against, let's kick things off with this quote. She actually said this to a British Education Commission back in 1882. And this one sentence, man, it just perfectly sums up the massive cultural walls she had to climb. She wasn't just fighting for money or buildings, she was fighting a mindset, an idea that was baked into the culture. And that fight, it became her life's mission.
So that really begs the question, right? Who was this woman? How does someone born into a high-caste Brahmin family, a family of scholars, become one of the most radical, game-changing reformers, and really one of the first feminist thinkers in India? Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle her story. We've got 5 main parts. We'll look at her absolutely unique education, the tragedies that really lit a fire under her, the actual homes of hope she built, the whole faith and controversy piece, and finally, the legacy that, believe it or not, is still going strong today. First up, let's just try to wrap our heads around how extraordinary her childhood was. I mean, in 19th century India, a woman getting a classical education, that was practically unheard of. But Ramabai's life was different right from the get-go. And to understand just how brilliant she was, you have to get the weight of these 2 titles. Pandita means a great scholar, and Sarasvati is literally the name of the Hindu goddess of wisdom. These were the highest honors you could get, and they were always given to elite men. For her to be the first woman ever to receive them, that tells you everything about her intellectual firepower. And her genius was just staggering. Get this. She was fluent in 7 languages. And this wasn't just some academic hobby, she put it to use, later translating the Bible into her native language, Marathi. And not from English, no, directly from the original Hebrew and Greek. Just incredible. Now, let's look at how a series of absolutely devastating personal losses took that academic brilliance and forged it into a mission for social change. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows a life of constant upheaval. She loses her parents in the Great Famine when she's just a teenager. Then she breaks all the rules by marrying a man from a lower caste. And then, just 2 years into her marriage, she's a widow at only 23, left all alone with a baby. This direct personal experience with suffering, that became the fuel for her life's work. And what's so amazing is how she immediately turned that pain into action. She didn't just write about change or talk about it. She started literally building the institutions that society was refusing to create for women in need. Almost right after her husband died, she founded the Arya Women's Society. This was her first big move, a direct answer to everything she had been through. And it wasn't some quiet little club. It was a machine for advocacy, designed to push for women's education and to fight against the horrifying practice of child marriage. And then, a few years later, she did something even more radical. She started the Sharda Sadan in Mumbai. This was a home, a school, a safe haven, all rolled into one, designed to give a second shot at life to a very specific and forgotten group of women. And who was it for? High-caste child widows. These were girls who were basically condemned to a life of nothing, no joy, no future. Ramabai created a place where they could actually get an education and learn skills. And it worked. By 1900, dozens of these women had become teachers and nurses, totally self-sufficient, something that would have been completely impossible for them otherwise. But her vision just kept getting bigger. When another terrible famine hit in the 1890s, she didn't just sit back. She went out herself, touring villages and rescuing thousands of women and children who had absolutely nothing left. And the result of that work was the Mukti mission. This number, it's just mind-blowing. By the year 1900, this place, built on 100 acres of land, was home to nearly 2,000 women and children, a whole community. And this was way more than just a roof over their heads. It was a whole ecosystem of empowerment. The curriculum was brilliant. It was designed to give these women back their dignity and help them stand on their own 2 feet. They learned everything from academic subjects like botany to practical skills like carpentry and printing. And crucially, she pushed them to form their own societies, to break down the caste divisions that she believed caused so much of the suffering in the first place. Okay, but Ramabai's story also has a really controversial chapter. In 1883, while she was in England, she made a decision that would cause a huge stir back home. She converted to Christianity. And this one choice would completely change her work and how people saw her.
So her conversion sparked this immediate, intense firestorm. The Orthodox Hindu community, especially through powerful newspapers, called her a traitor. They claimed her schools were just a trick to convert women, and some parents actually pulled their daughters out. But for Ramabai, it was totally different. She saw her new faith as the moral engine she needed to fight the oppression that she felt was so deeply woven into the Hindu orthodoxy of her day. She even argued that her critics weren't mad about her religion. They were mad that she was giving power to high-caste women, and that was messing with the status quo. But through all of it, the constant attacks, the incredible personal sorrow, which included losing her only daughter Manorama in 1921, Ramabai's impact was just undeniable. And over time, people started to recognize just how much she had done. She got one of the highest civilian awards from the British government. Years later, an independent India put her face on a postage stamp. There's a major road in Mumbai named for her, and she's even celebrated in the church calendar. But her most powerful legacy, it isn't a medal or a street sign. It's alive. The Mukti mission that she built with her own two hands over a century ago, it is still running today. It's still doing the work, still helping women and children who need a safe place and a chance at a better life. So when you look at the life of Pandita Ramabai, you get a pretty powerful answer to that question. It takes the brain of a scholar, the heart of a rebel, and an absolutely unstoppable drive to build something better, even when you're facing down personal tragedy and a whole society that's telling you no. It really makes you think, doesn't it?